this is who you get your hopes up for.
Kshama Sawant and I approve this message. I am running as an independent socialist for the US Congress because we are getting screwed over by both the Democratic and Republican parties, which serve the billionaires and multimillionaires. We need a new party for the working class. I was an independent socialist city council member in Seattle for 10 years, and I used my office to build militant mass movements. There will be no backroom deals with corporations or their political servants. Rather than make backroom deals with the billionaires and the city's political establishment, I went to war against them and won historic victories like the nation's highest minimum wage, the Amazon tax, and unprecedented renters' rights. My campaign.
Wait, hold on. Can I just answer Casey? I just have to answer Casey. She's a Dolphins fan, born and raised. Hi, Casey. Born and raised Miami. Started going to season games at age 2, 1972, and went to every seasonal home game till I went to college. Hi.
You went to one of the biggest regular season games in the history of football. The night the Dolphins beat, in my opinion, the greatest team in the history of the NFL. Sorry, 72 Dolphins. The 85 Bears. Jen was at that Monday night game. You were also at, and I have to say, that was some year for you, because not only were you at that, but you were at Bruce's Born in the USA show.
That was a great year in the Orange Bowl. That was also in the Orange Bowl. That was a good Orange Bowl year, yeah, for sure.
Campaign for Congress is fighting for free healthcare for all, funded by taxing the rich, ending all military aid to the Israeli state, shutting down ICE and the detention centers, stopping the data centers and the AI-related mass layoffs.
See, Elijah, if you're still watching, these are actual plans. These are actual policy statements. That's all. I just wanted to point that out to you, just in case you're watching still.
And for national rent control and to massively expand public social housing. I am the only candidate in this race who is fighting for demands like these. I am also the only candidate in this race who has a track record of defeating the billionaires and winning historic victories for working people. My main opponent is 29-year incumbent Democrat Adam Smith, who has voted for tens of billions of dollars for the genocide in Gaza, who has voted to block United Nations food aid to Gaza, and who has voted to give over $906 billion for Trump's wars. Adam Smith has also voted to create and fund ICE to slash hundreds of billions of dollars from Medicare and Medicaid funding and to bail out the billionaires after the 2008 Great Recession. Adam Smith needs to go. Look, working people are angry. They understand that capitalism is a steaming pile of shit and they're looking for fighters.
How could you not love this woman?
I do.
One more time.
She's delightful.
Yeah. Sometimes cussing is appropriate.
The 2008 Great Recession. Adam Smith needs to go. Look, working people are angry. They understand that capitalism is a steaming pile of shit.
Love it. Love it, Kshama.
And they're looking for fighters. My city council office turned Seattle politics upside down to win breakthrough victories for working people. Join my campaign now so we can do the same in the US Congress. I have a message for Jeff Bezos and his class. We are coming for you and your rotten system. Solidarity.
Anybody who is a thorn in Bezos' side is a friend of mine. Anybody who's on, I want to say, okay, so this is very cool. You're from Sarasota. Your dad loved the Dolphins, herited 40 years. Oh, nice. Nice. I actually was able to connect my dad through some connections so that my dad got to be at the Football Hall of Fame when Dan Marino was inducted, which was like the dream. And he even got to go to like the whole brunch and everything. So yeah, but I feel you, like, as far as like the dads passing that on thing, like it's real.
We've seen that a lot of people have been supporting our channel as best they can. And when you wonder, what is it that we primarily do with the money that we were able to raise in the case of the PAC? This is what is going up at the start of next week in Seattle.
Yay!
And this will go up in the 4 highest trafficked areas in the entire district. Every minute on the minute for 8 seconds for 4 weeks. This will be all over the district.
And guys, keep in mind, this is for the jungle primary. So this, and we talked about this strategy wise, just so that to like fill you in on what the process was. if she makes the top 2 and then it's her versus Adam Smith going into the general, then that's when our billboards will be going after him. But in this particular, in the primary, she needs to be in the top 2. So it makes sense to do this. And by the way, when you have that kind of track record, you need to advertise that shit.
Correct.
How many people can say that they're responsible for their state having the highest minimum wage, which we know is still not enough, but that she's the person that did that? That's badass.
It's as close as, I mean, listen, can you live in the wealthy part of Seattle with that wage? No, but you can live in a decent part of Seattle with that wage.
I'm going to tell you something right now, Libertarian Social Democrat. I would, and I haven't scanned like her entire history on this issue.
He is, no, Lib, I'm telling you now.
She might personally support some gun control. I don't know. But what I do know is that's not her priority. That's not what she focuses on. She is about working people, and working people are across the spectrum, which is why she is not a Democrat. She is not a Republican. She's an independent. So don't assume that. And even though she might personally think that, I don't know. That is not what she fights for. She is fighting for working people, whether they're gun owners or not, whether they voted for Trump or Bernie. That is not her thing. Do not project that shit on her.
No. And again, Kshama, remember, socialists are not shit libs. They are motivated. This is the thing that I want people to understand, is the primary difference between socialist economics and communist economics. Communism believes in the elimination of private property. Socialists believe in worker co-ops. Do you want to know? You probably didn't even know this, Jen, and I actually didn't know it until today when I sat down for one of my meetings. Do you guys know that despite the fact that Publix, which is an extremely Christian and conservative family.
We can complain about Publix, but I know what you're going to say, and yes, I am aware.
80% of Publix is worker co-op.
Correct.
The workers own the means of production.
Correct.
This is
workers at Publix, once you're vested, you own.
This is as Republican a family as it gets. Why is it, Jen, that the Republicans always seem to get the shit through? You know why? Because eventually their voters make them do it. Whereas the Democrats take it literally up their ass.
Okay.
They don't care.
But I also want to say this about Publix, which is one of the things that I grew up, for people that don't know, in South Florida. I'm a Publix girl. I've been going, that was my first supermarket as when I was a little kid. That's just where we've always gone, as Publix. They don't have like a user card, like a, what do you call it? A regular, you know how you don't get like motive incentive cards there, sure. But their employees get stock options. Their company is owned by their employees, and by the way, only people that worked at Publix are able to buy it. It's not open for anybody else to buy stock in Publix.
How you like that?
And as somebody who, yes, I know that they have taken many stands politically that I don't agree with, but
they're pro-life.
They're decent. Let me tell you, they're decent to their workers.
They are.
They're 100%. Decent to their workers.
And that's the thing.
They always have been.
I have no problem, and I mean this, I have no problem with people that are pro-life if they are not fucking hypocrites. If you are true to your word and you do things like even something like Planned Parenthood.
Ms. Killer knows it. Because if we Black Panther this thing, we need people that are armed.
Yeah.
That's where it is. People assume that because Democrats have clamped on to the gun issue, because just like every other thing, they use it to get points. Both sides do. It's sort of like the trans issue. It's any of that.
This is actually this is actually one of the truly prideful things about the state of Florida. Publix is the #1 rated major grocer in the United States.
I didn't know that.
They are.
I have it here now because it has expanded. So for people who don't know, Publix is also it's in Georgia. It's in Tennessee.
I think it's in Georgia and Alabama and Tennessee.
Those and North Carolina. Yeah. And North Carolina. So it's expanded. Yeah, Publix is it's a thing. And if you haven't had a pub sub, you haven't lived.
You don't know what you're missing. When I have made my exceptions, because I'm pretty much pescatarian, but You're going to have a turkey sub. I mean, Publix it's as good as it gets.
Yeah.
And this is, and when you, and I know a lot of people were mentioning this in the chat, and that's why I want to play this clip real quick, because there is a guy.
So don't people tell me that the left is anti-gun. The left is not anti-gun. Democrats,
the shit libs,
exactly, shit libs are anti-gun. Actual leftists are people that were armed.
And you know what's even more amazing about the shit libs, ladies and gentlemen? They are totally fine with everyone getting their guns taken away. You know why? Because they have the cops on speed dial. Because whenever anything goes wrong, the first people they're calling are the cops, and they know that they'll protect them because it's all about capital.
Okay, Pirate Justin, and somebody who lived in San Antonio for 6 years and is also very familiar with the HEB, which is not really, it's HEB. But I would say that Publix is probably akin to a nice new HEB, but not as nice as, like, let's say, a Central Market HEB. So I would say it's somewhere in the vicinity of a high-end, not a Central Market HEB.
I have also been trying to explain to people that one of the main reasons that we are constitutional absolutists is because the Second Amendment is the only reason why this country is not a police state. That is the only reason. If they had the guns, if they had taken them all away, you better believe that there would be internment camps all over the place. A lot of people who typically were okay with the abuses of ICE are going to find out the hard way that it was never really about that. It was about crushing labor. That's it. And it's very easy to crush labor when where the country's been constructed around the idea of separation by race, creed, culture, etc. And unfortunately, the liberal side tends to be way too pacifist. I am going to explain to you now with this guy, I don't know his name, but
wait, which story are we going on to?
You see, no, it's basically wrapping up this story with Kshama about what the real left is about, what this populist movement is about. And I want you all to understand that
I love all the amendments.
Even the Third Amendment. Trust me.
Well, that was when I was in law school, somebody used to joke that they were going to just to see if people were paying attention, saying, I'm going to be a Third Amendment specialist.
Not that I know of any militias needing quarters here, but hey, you got to do what you got to do. If you don't understand why so many people are motivated by the Heath Ledger version of the Joker, this is why.
That we're now rounding third base on a decade since the whole Epstein thing happened, and somehow it wasn't enough to wake you all up to the idea that it's all of them, that it's every last one of them, and they're all working together in the shadows to maintain the idea that it's just a few bad apples, not the whole orchard. It's funny, don't you think? Almost as funny as Larry Silverstein buying 2 buildings so infested with asbestos that the cost to remove it all was more than the buildings were worth. Almost as funny as Larry Silverstein going out of his way to pay more insurance than he needed to, insisting that the buildings were worth more than they appraised for 6 weeks before the attacks. Almost as funny as Larry Silverstein not being at work that day. Almost as funny as you all thinking that we don't know whose hand is in our pocket, who's pulling these strings. That you all think we don't see the agenda. Almost as funny as you all thinking we're still gonna keep buying your distractions. Your time is almost up.
That's nice. And yet people in chat, I've always been a support. I've not always been as left as I am, but I've always been a supporter of the Second Amendment. I grew up in a house that had firearms. I was taught to use firearms when I was old enough to go to the gun range with my dad. And so I am personally unarmed because I just choose that. But let your freak flag fly, people. I do, just like I feel with everything else. I mean, I do think there need to be like regulations on things. I do. And I don't have a problem with certain things like that. And most responsible gun owners don't.